Hello and welcome to the channel. I hope you're all well. Yes, it's that time of the year when we start thinking about tying mayflies.
A few facts about the mayfly. It is, of course, an ephemera, which simply means that it exists for a short time. This may be 5 minutes or maybe a day, but not longer. Most people presume that the fly receives its name because it hatches in May, but that's not the case. It was originally called the mayfly because it hatched around the same time that the mayflowers, or the hawthorns, were in bloom, and that association gave the mayfly its name. Having said that, depending upon your environment, the hatch could be any time between May and August. Mayflies are unlikely to hatch until the water surface temperature reaches 21 degrees centigrade, or about 70 Fahrenheit. A fossil of a mayfly has been found, which has been estimated to be 312 million years old. That is the oldest known body impression of a flying insect. Its main function is to reproduce, so it finds a partner, mates and dies, hence the reason for such a short life on our rivers. Finally, it has no discernible mouth, and is therefore not able to eat, so even if it survived mating, it would starve to death. Now let's get on with the tying.
Now in the vise I have a size 10 dry fly hook. Now you can tie this in different ways. I'm trying to make this easy for you. Now if you haven't got the ganners to do this type of thing, or you don't have the time, and to create something like that, then what I'm going to show you now is going to be a fine substitute. As I said, in the vise I have a size 10 dry fly hook and I'm tying with brown thread. I'll start that a little bit back from the eye and wind on the thread and trim up the excess. Right, now for the tail, we are going to use pheasant tail, and we need the standard 3 fibers, the recognized tail of the Danica ephemera, the mayfly. So I'm just going to take off 3 fibers. Now they are quite long. Whether they are separated I don't think is really important, so you don't have to go in between the fibers to create the separation. And indeed, the fibers or the tail are not always separated on the mayfly. So down to the hook shank, and I'm just going to put 1 thread underneath, which will lift and separate to a degree, and tie it down, and then trim up the excess. Now I'm going to put on a rib, and for the rib I'm going to use some brown silk. This is all Versoir silk. It's a dark brown, and I'm just going to tie that in. Like so. I'll just pop that in the spring. And for the body, I'm going to use a creamy beige dubbing. This is quite a fine dubbing. It's beaver, but it does float very, very well. I'm just going to dub that on to create the body. Now this is quite a substantial fly, so you may need quite a bit of dubbing. Just wind that on at the rear and make your way up the body. Thicken it up as you get closer to the thorax area. I'm going to add just a little bit more just to make it even thicker. Like so. And I'm going to wind on the silk to create a segmentation. and tie off the silk. And trim up the excess. Okay, wings. I've got a couple of CDC feathers here. Now if you want to make those fan wings, then you create the concave down. In this particular instance, I'm going to have them uprights, so I'm going to have them both the same way, concave and convex the same way. So I'm just going to place those either side of the hook shank and tie them in. And I'm going to pull those to the length that I'm looking for. Like so. And a couple of wraps around the base. Figure eighting. And tie down these stalks and trim them up. Try and avoid the thread, the tying thread. Just tidy up there. And I'm going to go back to the rear of the CDC. And now for the hackle, I'm going to use a ginger grizzly, a cock hackle. I'm going to take a nice hackle off, something that's fairly bushy. We are using quite a big hook here, so trying to get the right length. I don't want to overdo it. Am I getting fussy? There we go, let's try that one. So I've taken that one off, and I am taking all of the fluff and the softer fibres from the bottom of the hackle, and I'm going to just trim up the stalk, and I'm going to tie this in. Put a wrap behind the wings. And I'm just going to trim up that excess stalk from the hackle. And I'm going to take my hackle pliers and wind on the hackle behind the wing. Now, I don't think it really matters which way you go with your hackle, whether they are facing forward or backwards. Just try and keep them one after another in a line if you can. And the same at the front. Just take your time. I've twisted slightly then, so I'll just pull those fibres back. That's about as far as we can go. And tie off the hackle. I'll release the hackle plier. I'm just going to build up the head, and before I tie it off, I'm going to just put some glue onto the thread. And I'm going to tie it off using the half hitch tool. flex there, get rid of that, and trim up the tying thread and trim out the hackle. See how that is sitting. And there you have your very simple mayfly. As I said, it's a question of time and possibly experience tying these other styles of mayfly with the detached body like this. But believe you me, this will serve the purpose quite well. I hope you enjoyed the tying. Don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up, and do share it if you wish, and get some in your fly box. If you can't tie those detached bodies for whatever reason, this is a fine alternative. Thanks very much for viewing, and do become a subscriber if you're not already a subscriber, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.